So I've been really happy with this second half of 3B. I think the first two episodes of this second half have been just jam-packed with stuff and really interesting. So we need to talk about the title of this video and about Meggie. I have singled her out as shady for the longest time, and a couple of you have been on board, but I think after this episode, a lot more of you are on board. Now, I still have her as my #1 suspect and the killer of Wes, although I've been reading your comments and you've got some great theories about other people. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but this was the first time the show blatantly pointed out how shady she was. And what I enjoyed about it is that the only person who's really on board with the Meggie is shady theory on the show is Laurel, and everyone else dismissed her. I would be more concerned about my theory if when Laurel mentioned she was shady, everyone agreed that, hey, you know, maybe she killed Wes. Because when they blatantly point out somebody like that and say that they killed Wes and a lot of people agree, or they killed whoever, then it's not going to be that person. I'm still okay with the fact that maybe she didn't actually kill Wes, but she had a plan in it. I feel like she never really loved Wes. I think she decided she wanted to frame him or something, or eventually kill him maybe, and that's why she came into his life. So there's a lot of scenarios we can play with here. Perhaps she's related to one of the many crimes Annalise has been involved in. There could be so many people she's either related to, best friends of, whatever. We have Rebecca or the Hapstalls, or you can go through all the seasons and figure it out for yourself, because I don't really know yet. They haven't made it clear that she's connected to one of those people, so it could be virtually anyone. Also, we have the scenario that a lot of you have mentioned in the comments, not comics, we're not on Riverdale, comments that she's related to Atwood. She had mentioned before that her aunt was an attorney. That would make a lot of sense. Or she might have some other kind of connection to her. So that's why I feel like she is the main suspect. And not only that, I believe whoever killed Wes did so with intention, not accidentally, not because he was in the way, not because they started the fire and didn't even know he was in there. I do believe he was dead before the fire started, and I think someone set out to kill him. And when I look at who has motive to kill him, she definitely has that motive based on what we know about her, but she may have a stronger motive based on her past and her connections that we haven't learned yet. Now, let's get to the people that you guys have told me you think could be the killer. A lot of you are saying Nate, and I actually like that theory because he wants to get back at Annalise, and he knows that, you know, the one person that would really get at her, that he could hurt or kill, would be Wes. Now, on the other side of that, he doesn't seem like a killer, but hey, if the person who was always the killer seemed like the killer, then every mystery show would be really boring. So we don't really know a lot about him. We don't know about his past. Maybe he's had some stuff go on in his past that we don't know about, okay? I definitely don't think it's Frank, and I don't think you guys do either. And for those of you who think it's Annalise, I definitely do not think it's her. Let's talk about Bonnie. I'm getting a lot of comments that you think it's Bonnie. We know Bonnie is savage. I mean, she killed Rebecca. She didn't seem to give one crap about that. Wes is a little bit different. She knew him. We thought she liked him, you know, as a friend. But she would do anything for her precious Annalise. At the same time, if she's doing something to help Annalise because he was turning her in, she also knew that she would be destroying her because she knew how special he was to her. But maybe she wanted to be the one that was the most special to Annalise, because we know the girl is a little bit messed up in the head. So I enjoy your theories immensely, and really who knows what's going to happen. But I'm going to stick with my Meggie theory. I feel 99% sure she is a part of something sinister, and she is a part of the Wes dying / fire scenario. So even if she doesn't turn out to be our main killer, I'm pretty much certain at this point she is involved in that scenario in some way. Atwood is also another person who gets mentioned a lot in the comments. Yeah, I can get behind that too. There's definitely something more going on with her. Of course, in my wildest dreams, we would have one of the main cast members be the killer of Wes, because that's a lot more juicy than just a random who just showed up this season. I don't think it's going to be one of the Keating 4. We just killed one of them off. I don't want to make one of them the murderer who's going to go to jail. That would really diminish the group. So I'm still curious about your theories. If you have a theory similar to one that I mentioned, or you support my theory, or you have a different theory. I really enjoy when different theories are thrown out. Oh, which makes me remember one of you, and I can't remember who, said today that Laurel's dad was a pretty obvious suspect, and I never ever have thought about that. But remember, he got almost an entire episode devoted to him in the first half of this season, which when you look at it, that's a little freaking odd. Like, we don't really know much about him, and why did he get so much airtime? We know he's shady AF for one thing, and yeah, I could see him killing someone, absolutely. And maybe he didn't kill someone, maybe he hired someone, and that's the other thing I want you guys to think about, that all of these people we've talked about, you know, I think if it were Bonnie, she probably would do it herself, but we could have had a scenario where someone hired someone. Again, that's really lame, but we could have that as a possibility, and then finding out who really killed him is very difficult if it was a hitman, you know? Okay, so we'll talk about that Meggie scene right now, and I'm doing this video just a little bit different. I just wanted to explore a lot of theories and talk those out with you guys, because everyone's watched the episode, so you know what happened. So I'm just going to hit on like the main points and tell you what I think about theories relating to those points. But of course, the Meggie scene kind of made my day when she was being super suspicious and lurking around and wanting to know why Nate was there. Now, with her wanting to know why Nate was there and acting really weird, I do think that that confirms that the two of those people are not working together. So we can't have it both ways. We can't have Nate and Meggie both conspired for this fire and this murder. I think that does confirm that, so I want you to think about that for a little bit. So we've either got to go with Nate did it and she's curious, maybe she suspects him, I don't know, I don't think so. Or we go with she did it and she's wondering if Nate is suspicious of her, did he perhaps see her, maybe he told, you know, maybe that's why she's asking, because she's wondering, like, do they have a suspect? Is that suspect a woman? She's asking for herself. Now, I've had several people comment one other thing that I don't think I've ever mentioned in the chats or videos, and that is the possibility of Meggie doing something to kill Laurel's baby. Now, I think that is another high possibility, and if that scenario plays out, maybe that is the way she works into the sinister scenario altogether. Maybe she wasn't involved in killing him or burning down the house, but she's still in the show because she's going to do something to cause Laurel to lose the baby. That is terrible, I know, but I still don't see Laurel being on this show, being part of the Keating Four, and being a mom. I don't see that working out. If she does have the baby, I can only imagine that she will put it up for adoption, or someone within her family would take that baby, or the Laurel character goes away, which I don't think is going to happen. I don't see Laurel having a kid and that being part of the show. Maybe they will go there because Homeland went with something like that, but you know, in Homeland, the main character is not taking care of her child. So again, I don't see, you know, Laurel in an apartment or whatever with the baby, and that child is a star, not a star, but a character that's recurring in the show. Don't see that happening. So let me know what you think about that theory. That's not mine, but I'm getting that from some of you guys. But I think that's really interesting. Definitely don't think that Frank did any of this, and I don't think anyone else does either. But actually, I've had some comments where some of you think that Bonnie and Frank have conspired to kill Wes because he was going to turn Annalise in, so that's interesting. I really think Viola is killing it once again with her acting this season. The jail scenes were incredibly realistic, even though I've never been to jail. The cutting of the hair scene was super emotional. I loved it when her friend in jail pretty much stood up for her when she was about to get jumped on by the other women. And I also loved it when she tried to attack Atwood, even though that made her look crazy to Atwood and the police and everything. I think this is a scenario that Annalise will be cleared of all of these charges and things will go back to normal, but it's probably going to take for the rest of the season for that to happen, because right now they believe that Frank worked with Annalise to burn down the house and kill Wes. So for those of you still hoping that Wes is alive, I absolutely do not believe that he is, and I'm sorry for those of you who had a lot of hope. And you know, it's not that I don't want him on the show, but I don't want them to bring back a dead person, because that makes this show kind of silly and something that it's not. They would either have to go the supernatural route, or they would have to go pretty much they lied to us route. We've seen his body so many times. We've seen photos of his dead body. The only way they could really make that work is by saying someone killed his twin that we didn't know about, which is really lame since we know all of his backstory and have seen him as a child with his mom, and she was a single mom of one kid. So I'm not buying into any of that either. I don't know what's going to happen with Frank. I hope he survives, because even though he's a bad boy, I like him. Even Laurel lying about him still didn't get him placed with all of the blame of what happened, and I don't think he was involved, to be completely honest. But I think Bonnie should be worried, because they're going to get to the bottom of what happened to Rebecca, and I don't know, at some point in the show, people are going to have to start paying up for what they've done, whether they are paying for things they haven't done, kind of like a karma thing, or they actually get caught for some of the crimes they committed. I just don't think this show is going to go on forever and everyone gets off of everything, because people have done some pretty bad stuff in this show. So just to let you guys know, if you didn't know, I have a live chat every Friday at 5 p.m. where we pretty much have this discussion except with you guys, which is a lot more fun. So I hope you can make it, and if not, those videos go up on my channel every Friday around 5:45 p.m. Eastern. But if you haven't subscribed and you enjoy this show, please do. If you enjoy my theories and this kind of theory discussion, give me a thumbs up, because I really enjoy talking to you in this format. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.